do less damage to the wood. Now, we can... Mrs. W and I were on the way to Home Depot yesterday, and she was reading the comments from yesterday's video, the top 10 essential tool belt tools. And one thing that became aware to that we were both made aware of is that you folks want us to go into detail on these things, explain the purpose and the why. And there's so much out there and there's so much hype when you go into Home Depot. Which do I need? What do I not need? Which is, you know, can you help me cut through the Bravo Sierra, to put it mildly, and show me what I need to get the job done without spending a ton of money. So today we're going to cover the Pry Bars. Now that's part of the 10 essential tools. The Catspaw is not really a pry bar. It's actually a very poor pry bar. What it does is it gives you the ability to remove nails that you need to pull out, because you know this term, tough as nails. You want to know what tough is? Try to pull a 16-penny galvanized nail out without a tool specifically designed for it. I mean, they are so hard. So this is a tool that we have to carry. Not something we're going to use all that often, but it's the only tool that can get the job done. Where is it going to be carried? Well, in good quality tool belts like this, like the Occidentals, it's going to be carried in this leather-lined pouch. It can be easily taken in and out with one hand if you keep this conditioned. I rub these down with Open-Offs. It keeps the leather supple and pliable. If you don't take care of your leather bags, this leather as it gets wet will shrink, and you never get this in here with one hand. So if you keep it, of course it's going to make a fool of me here, if you keep it lubed up here, it's funny that I tried that 100 times before I started the video. It went in and out every time. So here's the scenario. 16-penny nail, just been driven in, or something that's been driven in by someone else. We want to do some demo. We want to change it. We don't want that board there anymore. How do we get this out if we can't get underneath of it? Now, if we want to save the board, we can pry and get our wrecking bars under there, but it's most likely going to split and tear up the wood and destroy it. This is where the cat's paw comes in. It gets that name cat's paw because of that shape there. It looks like a cat's paw. And we've got the same thing on two ends. We've got the 90-degree bend, and then we got the straight. The reason for this, the primary way you're going to use this is going to be on the bend, because that gives you a nice purchase. You can pry against that angle and get it out far enough where you can get your framing hammer claws on it and pull it out. The reason for this end over here is when you'll find yourself getting into situations where you just can't get this in there. It's too small, too tight. You can drive this end pretty much anywhere. So what you do is you come back on the nail just a little bit and drive that in at a sharp angle. We're going to get those tines underneath the head of the nail. Now we can pry that up and get that out of there. Now you can see at that angle how I split the board. If you don't want to split the board, you need to come in with the grain like that. Now that sometimes is not possible with the way that this is angled. That's why you have two different heads. That cat's paw comes from that name. It looks like a cat's paw, a little cat's paw on the end. And sometimes the only option in tight situations is to use this end. Problem with that is you have nothing to pry against. So you can take your hammer or a small block of wood if you find yourself in a situation like that and use that as a lever and pry this way. This is the only tool that I know of that you can remove nails like this and save your boards. Yeah, if you want to reuse a stud or reuse a header or something like that, this is really great. Yes, it'll tear up the wood a little bit, but you can still use it and continue to go framing. This, however, is a terrible pry bar. It's just not very good. It's too fat on the ends. You can't get underneath anything. So there's several variants that I'll show you here that have been kind of spawned from this that are hybrids that allow you to do both jobs. On a side note, one thing you want to consider is on your hammer. Framing hammers typically have a waffle pattern. You can see here on this is a 30-ounce S-wing right here. That waffle pattern is long since worn out, but when they're new, they're really sharp. And the reason why they do that is if you look on the back of the 16-penny framing nail, you'll see that it's got a waffle pattern as well. These correspond to help bite together. So when you hit this, wherever you strike this on a good framing hammer, it will hold and it won't slip off. Less tendency of slipping off, smashing your finger, or missing the strike. It really works great, a good combination. If you're using a waffle pattern hammer and it's your bread and butter, you're making a living with it, you don't want to beat on your cat's paw with it. That's what I've done right here, and you can see essentially just rendered it ineffective. Right there at the striking area, it's all smoothed off. This is not going to bite on anything anymore. It's essentially a smooth-faced hammer. It would be a better option if you're going to be in a situation where you're doing wrecking or demo and using your Catspaw a lot, to go with a smooth face hammer right there. No damage is going to be done, and it's just a better practice. Can you rebuild these? Some of the new hammers have replaceable heads on them, the stilettos and such, but I haven't used any of those. Hammers, I like these Estwings. If I was a tradesman, if I was using this and swinging this, framing houses every day, I would not use this. There's too much vibration that comes through the handle, even with the rubber grip on it, that guys complain they get a sore elbow when using it every day, and I've experienced that myself. But for the common man like us, we're just using it for a general purpose, all-around hammer, nail puller. They're just, you can't beat them. They're inexpensive, and you cannot break them. These hammers are both probably close to 25, 30 years old or so, and will probably last me the rest of my life. Because the Catspaw is so specific to one particular job, and it doesn't make a really great pry bar, some guys will like to go to something that's kind of a hybrid here, like this. This has got a Catspaw on one end and more of a smooth prying bar that you can get a purchase on things underneath. Again, just like anything, you know, you compromise. There's going to come a place where you're up on a ladder someplace and you need to get a nail out, and because you don't have this straight end of the Catspaw, you're going to be crawling down the ladder to go get this. So, job specific, what are you doing? Are you prying a lot of trim off, different things, small things that you need to get a purchase on? This might be a better option. It's going to get out 90% of the nails that you need to get out, but that 10% comes on the end there. But it might be a better solution. The problem with this is, for me, it doesn't fit my tool belt in the loop, and so I don't carry it. I carry the traditional Catspaw. But this is definitely an option as well. You'd be well served to have either one. They're both going to work for you. Probably the very best tool, pry bar of all of them, for just general all-around stuff, it would be my go-to bar, is what we call, well, here in the West, we call this a Wunderbar. This is a wonderful tool for demo and remodeling because it's so thin and it's such a tough bar. And it's got that thin purchase on it. So if you need to pry up top plates or anything like this, you can always get underneath of it, and it's strong enough where you can strike it with a hammer and just, you can do anything you need to do. It's also got a nail puller on it, which is used better, a little bit better for smaller nails, you can see right there. But how that works is you get that down there and you can pull nails out this way. Same principle as your claws hammer. But it gives you much more leverage. You can pull a lot better nails, bigger nails out with the Wunderbar than anything else. Also, it's got pullers on each end, so you can pull this way, you can pull this way. It's got that nice bend on it. This is a wonderful tool. This has evolved from years and years of carpenters have come up with this design. It's pretty much standard. This is an absolute must-have. Even though it's not going to be a tool belt tool, it's just too big, but it's going to be something you want to have close by if you're doing, especially doing remodeling. Now, if you're doing finer work, something like this is invaluable. And I know guys that carry this as well in their tool belt. Even though there's not really a dedicated place for it, it's so valuable to them, especially if you're doing small trim work, just for prying things off. Let me show you a perfect example of where this tool really shines. This tool really shines for any sort of finish work. If you're going to be removing crown molding, baseboards, window casings, things like that, it's a tool that's really slight and small enough where you can get behind things and you can gently pry out. You can save material. It's got a wide base on the back, so you're not going to damage if you have like wainscoting here behind or a beadboard. But look how effective that is. You can get behind and just do all sorts of things. It's short enough where you can cut the caulking if that is preventing something from coming out. All types of things. This specific one here, this is a beekeeper's tool, but I believe it was a carpenter's tool way before it became a beekeeper's tool. I just haven't found anything that fits in my tool belt and that works as good as this. I know they're out there, but something like this is just a godsend for finished carpentry. And finally, to round out the must-have pry bars, you need a big heavy wrecker. Some people call this a pry bar, a crowbar, wrecking bar, a demo bar. They come in all different shapes and configurations. If you go to Home Depot right now, it's probably going to be hard to find the traditional one. You're going to find all different flares and variations of this that may or may not be better. You just can't go wrong with just the old school pry bar, wrecking bar. You're going to need this. There's going to be, well, you'll be pulling out 16-penny galvanized nails and big items. All those pry bars that I showed you, they're just not going to be able to get it done. You can't get them out. You need that big old lever out there. You need to move stuff. And this is an indispensable tool. Every garage sale you're going to go to is going to have one of these. All of the stuff that I'm showing you, you should be able to put together for just a few dollars. They're just everywhere, but this is an essential item. So if I had to pick the ones that you must have versus the ones that you want to have, let's lay them out and talk about that for a bit. So here's the question. All right, Cody, I'm putting together my kit. I'm a young guy. I want to get into carpentry, or I want to be able to have the skills to work on my own house. I'm looking for this stuff. Where do I start? Do I really need all of these, or can I get by with one or two? You do not need all of them. First off, you don't need this. This tool right here, the Wunderbar, will do everything that this will do, and this is just, it's not necessary. Same here. I don't typically like combination tools as well as, it's the whole Leatherman deal. Yes, it's got a screwdriver, but it's not a very good screwdriver. It's not easy to use. Yes, it's got pliers, but it's not the same as real pliers. So anything that tries to do two things and gets away from its original mission, I think it disappoints me. I'm going to get rid of that. What I would not be able to get rid of is this. Of all of these, this one here, the Wunderbar, is my favorite, and I think the most useful all around. No, it won't pull any nails out. It's not going to do the work of a Catspaw. It's an entirely different tool, but it is an absolutely fantastic pry bar. These two right here would be where I would start. I'll put these in my Amazon store at wranglermart.com. You can buy one of these, a nice Catspaw like this from Amazon for I think right around $10 or so. Worth every bit. It'll last you a lifetime. And then to round it all up, need to be getting a big heavy wrecking bar. I mean, these three right here, if you showed up on the job site as a new apprentice or came over to your friends who are seasoned carpenters and you had these tools, you would get the nod of appreciation because they would know that you have a clue. Because everyone knows that this is the pry bar trifecta. Now, I've got bonus material for you. These need a little bit of maintenance that you can do very quickly and easily to keep them running and working optimally. Let's run out to the shop really quick and I'll show you how to tighten these up a little bit, to clean them up and keep them working just like they were new.
Wait a minute, you said there was going to be bonus footage at the end. Well, the bonus footage turned into its very own video, so that's going to have to be for next time. Took the pry bars out in the shop. I showed you how to file them. Talked a little bit about files. Lots of good information. It turned into its very own standalone video, so look for that tomorrow. So in the meantime, boy, this is a Wranglerstar flashback. It's funny to go back and to watch these videos. This was a video, actually, I believe, that was done from the Wrangler Barn channel. One of the very few that I resurrected, talking about tools to survive economic collapse. Important things. It's funny, I've learned so much about axes and homesteading since then that it's kind of funny, but it's interesting to go back and see. Well, that's the way we evolved, though. Well, we learn by doing, and it's fun to have that record and see how things have changed. Please take a moment and click the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. It's a way for you to support the channel. People ask, why do you want me to click the thumbs up all the time? Is it because you make more money? No, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got everything to do with getting the videos out in front of more folks. When you get lots of comments, when people comment and show interaction, when they watch videos for long periods of time from start to finish and rate them or give them thumbs up, what that tells YouTube is that this is a good video. This is a video that's generating interest and discussion, and therefore it gets placed higher and put more in front of more people. And of course, that's what we want. We want to get the knowledge out. We want to share this with folks, and so they can be more independent and do their own things. And, well, I'm preaching to the choir. If you're still here listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.